100 degrees, a little hotter than you need to make good burnt toast. These boilers are operated automatically from a control board that maintains the steam at 400 pounds pressure and at a temperature of 700 degrees. And their performance is continuously recorded on various meters that also are automatically operated. 4 massive turbines with a capacity of 20,000 horsepower convert the energy in steam into electrical energy at 13,000 volts. Then this electrical energy is distributed to substations over an intricate network of 136 miles of cable operating at 24,000 volts. The DSR maintains 18 substations scattered about the city at strategic points with a total capacity of 45,000 kilowatts, and the switches automatically open and close. So closely are the various operations coordinated. It certainly takes a lot of men, a lot of machinery, and large quantities of coal, so there'll be action when the motorman turns on the power. Now, here's something else again. Now and then a trolley wire breaks. Time was, when the city first took over the obsolete equipment of the lines, that these repair trucks were dashing out at all hours of the day and night. Now the breaks occur on an average of only twice a month, which isn't bad at all. Don't worry if that repairman takes a hold of the trolley wire. He's in no danger unless, when he grasps the wire, he also places his foot on the track. And there hasn't been anybody big enough to do that since Paul Bunyan moved out of Detroit up into the North Woods. Well, you've seen how the cars are kept in first-class condition, how the power is generated to run them, how the wires are maintained to carry the power. And now we come to the next step, which is providing tracks for the cars to run on. Since the city took over the lines, 75 miles of new track have been built to provide extensions. Still another problem is to keep rails and roadbed in good condition. No more are rails simply bolted together with plates on each side. That's the old method. And it meant a more or less rough ride because inevitably the plates worked loose and also there was always a space between the rail ends. Now the DSR uses the most modern method. A mold containing a sand core is fitted tightly about the joint. Over the mold swings a pot in which magnesium and iron are mixed in a fusible combination. The magnesium is ignited, terrific heat is generated, and the molten iron runs into the mold, fusing the rails together. When the mold has cooled, it is broken, and the joint has completely disappeared. Instead, there are 2 pieces of steel transformed into 1 piece of steel. Now all that needs to be done is to grind off the surplus metals. It's much the same operation as in welding 2 parts of a steel automobile body. Steel is joined inseparably to steel for your comfort and safety. Remember another thing. Not only is this the best way to lay tracks, but also the DSR does it without interrupting service on the line under construction. The new rails are laid beside the old ones on which the cars keep right on running. All that now remains is to secure the rails firmly in a concrete bed. The result is no makeshift repair job, but a reconstructed line. Practically the entire system has new rails and new roadbed, and the whole operation has been done thoroughly. Of our city government is to carry Detroit to and from work. Business is good right now, and that means thousands of workers twice a day must be transported about the city to their jobs and back home again. Here in one plant are 30,000 men who daily ride the streetcars to the factory. The DSR must be prepared every working day to deliver them on time. At the peak periods of the day, as many as 1,000 streetcars are operating in all parts of the city, carrying Detroit's great industrial army. Those boys don't seem to be in any hurry to get to work, do they? On the other hand, you'll observe that the shift coming off doesn't appear to be particularly eager to get away. With the cooperation of the DSR, an admirable arrangement has been perfected for loading the cars. The men go through a gate where they pay their fares, a gate that leads to one of 8 car lines. Thus, thousands are carried directly to their homes without paying another penny for a transfer, saving them many dollars. Such an arrangement as this can be possible only with a city-owned system that has the interests of the whole community at heart and is willing to sacrifice considerable income for the good of the greater number. Similarly, in other plants, the DSR follows shifts and schedules so the workers can be moved efficiently. So, too, when there is a field day at Belle Isle, when the horses are running at the fairgrounds, when Garwood is churning up the river, in fact, when Detroiters assemble anywhere. Not forgetting, of course, the outpouring of fervid fans at Navin Field. The DSR somehow finds out about it and wheels out a special detachment of streetcars to carry the citizenry. Now, suppose we look backward for a moment to that distant day when Detroit was only a sleepy village, long before we had electric cars, to say nothing of automobiles, sound pictures, prohibition, New Deals, radio, and all the other blessings of civilization in this century. Detroit calmly laid the foundation of its streetcar system in 1863, running horse cars on Jefferson Avenue. The next year, the company built an extension on Woodward Avenue that ran way out to Adams Avenue. 30 years later, in 1892, Detroit saw its first electric car, a bobbing Toonerville trolley. Finally, in 1896, the last horse car disappeared off the street. But although the electrics were faster, still there didn't seem to be any more seats for the car riders. Among the more than 3,000 conductors and motormen now employed by the DSR, there are not a few men who remember those old days. And here is a quintet of them, chatting of other times. Their combined years of service on the cars total 231 years, for everyone wears 9 gold stars, meaning 45 years on the platforms. And their combined ages are 347 years. All right, boys, now let's have our pictures taken. You all ready? Hold it. And now that they're all posed, I'd like to have you meet these gentlemen. Good citizens, all of them, and all of them employed by the DSR. First, motorman Joseph Hennig, 48 years on the 4th Street line. Conductor Harry Avickhauser on the Jefferson line for 45 years. Dan McCarty, a conductor on Trumbull for 46 years. Henry Fournier, a Gratiot Avenue motorman for 45 years. James McGaffin, a conductor on the Baker line for 47 years. And now, Joe, tell us about 4th Street nearly half a century ago.
In 1887, I hired out to the Fort Wayne and Blythe Railway. And them days we used to go on as far as the Fort Gate. That was beyond the city limits, about 2 blocks. You used to turn around there and come back. Made those old horses gallop for a little while. Sometimes we used to have lots of time, them days. But we was all happy, worked long hours, but that didn't make any difference. We was still all happy and was going on.
The area